Brother listed my abandoned penthouse. Then my private bank statement surfaced. I noticed the posts at 6:47 a.m. London time while sitting at my desk in Canary Wharf. My assistant had flagged them during her daily social media scan. The penthouse was not abandoned in any way. I had been living in London for 8 full months on a temporary work assignment. The property remained my home, fully paid, titled solely in my name, recently appraised at around $2.1 million, and my brother was openly trying to sell it behind my back. I immediately picked up my phone and called the one person who could stop this within hours. Lauren Dubois, Geneva Private Banking. Lauren, it's Cassandra Mitchell. I need an emergency wire and legal escalation. My brother is fraudulently listing my Seattle penthouse for sale. How much do we need to send? Enough to prove, beyond any doubt, that the property is not for sale. Wire $3.2 million to Seattle Metro Title Company, attaching full ownership verification documents. Then alert every real estate attorney in the Puget Sound region that any attempted closing is unauthorized and fraudulent. Understood. The transfer will clear in under 2 hours. Our U.S. legal team is already preparing emergency injunctions with King County Superior Court. Should I notify local law enforcement yet? Not yet. I want to see how far he pushes this. Very well. I'll text confirmation when the funds hit. I hung up and scrolled back through the Facebook listing. In the few hours since it went live, James had already collected 43 comments, 12 direct messages, and 1 concrete cash offer. $750,000, close in 3 days. His reply was instant. Deal. My parents are handling paperwork. They're both at the property now if you want to view. My parents. Of course they were involved. The family dynamic had always been lopsided. I was labeled the boring, predictable one, even though I had quietly climbed from junior analyst to director of equity research at a major Swiss investment firm. My current base salary was $340,000 plus substantial bonuses. At 28, I bought the Seattle penthouse outright with cash from exercised stock options and disciplined investing. James, at 34, still lived in our parents' basement. He had chased one failed venture after another: tech startup, crypto day trading, NFT marketplace, sports betting app, each collapsing faster than the last. Yet he remained the charismatic golden child, always one big idea away from success. I was just Cassandra the accountant, even though no one in the family ever used my actual title. When I accepted the 18-month London secondment, my mother's comment was, "At least that beautiful penthouse won't sit empty anymore. Maybe someone with a social life will buy it." I had stared at her. "I'm not selling, I'm coming back. You're moving to Europe. For 18 months, it's temporary. The apartment is my home. Empty high-rises are wasteful, Cassandra. Let James live there. He needs a proper address for business meetings. James needs a job. That's cruel." I left for London without giving him keys. Apparently that detail hadn't mattered. At 8:15 a.m. London time, 12:15 a.m. Seattle, Lauren's message arrived. Wire completed. $3.2 million delivered to Seattle Metro Title. Account flagged with your ownership packet. Emergency injunctions filed. Property is now legally locked. No transfer possible without your explicit written consent, which you will not provide. I smiled for the first time that morning and opened my laptop to watch events unfold in real time. At 12:47 a.m. Seattle time, James posted, "WTF, title company just called me at 1 a.m. saying the property isn't for sale. Anyone know a decent real estate lawyer?" Urgent, the comments poured in. "Bro, do you actually own this place? This sounds super sketchy. Who lists a $2 M penthouse at midnight? Title companies don't ring at 1 a.m. unless something is seriously wrong." James fired back, "It's my sister's condo, but she abandoned it. She's been in Europe forever and doesn't care. My parents have power of attorney, except they didn't. I had specifically refused when my mother suggested it, just in case something happens while you're abroad. James was either lying outright or our parents had lied to him. Either way, the story was unraveling. At 2:00 a.m. Seattle, my phone rang. Dad. Hello, Father. Cassandra, there's been a terrible mix-up. Some bank wired $3.2 million to the title company claiming you're buying your own place. Obviously fraudulent. You need to call them and clear this up so we can move forward with the sale. What sale? The Penthouse sale. James found a serious cash buyer, $750,000. We were going to surprise you with the money. I never authorized any sale. The Penthouse is not for sale. You're in London. You don't need a Seattle property anymore. I'm in London temporarily. I return in 10 months. It's still my home. James needs this, Cassandra. The buyer is ready. We promised Friday closing. If you block it, you're sabotaging your brother's chance to finally get ahead. Get ahead by committing real estate fraud? Silence. It's not fraud, he said carefully. We're family. We help each other. You have plenty of money. James needs a win. So you decided to sell my home without permission and split the proceeds. We were going to give you a portion. A portion of the money from selling MY Penthouse, bought with my money. Titled in MY name, you're being selfish. I'm being defrauded. There's a difference. If you don't cooperate, your mother and I are done with you. James is done with you. You'll have your precious condo and no family. Is that what you want? I let the question hang for several seconds. A family willing to steal my largest asset versus a home I loved and had earned myself. Yes, I said quietly. That's exactly what I want. I ended the call. The Facebook thread kept growing. James 3:14 a.m., sale blocked by greedy sister. Anyone know how to contest ownership when someone abandons property? Mom 3:28 a.m. comment. Cassandra has always put money before family. We tried to make her see reason. Praying she finds compassion. Buyer 3:45 a.m. I'm out. This is clearly a legal disaster. Good luck. James 4:02 a.m. ************************************************************************ F**************** by 5:00 a.m. Seattle. The original post had been shared over 200 times, mostly in local real estate and scam warning groups. James Mitchell's name was now attached to fraud alerts across multiple platforms. At 9:00 a.m. Seattle time, Detective Sarah Okonkwo from King County Sheriff's Office called. Ms. Mitchell, I'm investigating a potential real estate fraud. Your name came up. Do you have a few minutes? Of course. Did you authorize your brother James Mitchell to list your property for sale? Absolutely not. Did you authorize your parents Robert and Linda Mitchell to act on your behalf? No. I have never granted power of attorney or any sale authority. Your brother claims he has documents showing abandonment and family transfer of title. He's lying. Those documents do not exist. I own the property free and clear. I'm on temporary assignment in London. The condo is not abandoned. Mail is forwarded. Utilities on autopay. Cleaning service visits bi-weekly. I return in 10 months. Do you wish to press charges? I looked out across the glittering Canary Wharf skyline. I had worked relentlessly to build a life based on competence and independence. My family had tried to dismantle it because James needed a win. Yes, I said, I want to press charges. The investigation moved quickly. A search of my parents' home uncovered everything. Forged power of attorney forms, fake abandonment declarations. A counterfeit deed transferring title to a non-existent Mitchell family trust. James had been planning this for months. Text messages laid bare the conspiracy. Mom to James, April 15. Cassandra won't know until it's done. Find a buyer and close fast. Dad to James, April 22. We split 3 ways. You get $250K to start your next business. Fair. James to Dad, May 3. What if she finds out before closing? Dad to James, May 3. She won't. She's in London, doesn't follow Seattle listings. By the time she notices, it's final. They plan to sell my home, divide the cash, and present me with a done deal. The only reason they failed was my social media monitoring service and a private banker on speed dial. Indictments came down in July. James Mitchell, attempted wire fraud, attempted grand theft, forgery, criminal conspiracy. $100,000 bail. Robert Mitchell, conspiracy to commit fraud, accessory to forgery. $50,000 bail. Linda Mitchell, conspiracy to commit fraud, accessory to attempted theft. $50,000 bail. Trial was set for October. Local news ran the headline, "Family tried to sell daughter's $2 million penthouse while she worked abroad." The story went viral. I declined every media request. Extended family took sides, predictably against me. Aunt Carol, "How can you prosecute your own parents? It was a mistake." Uncle Jim, "James was trying to help the family financially." "You're destroying him over a condo you don't even use." Cousin Derek, "You have plenty of money, why so vindictive?" I blocked them one by one. The only family member who stood by me was grandmother Louise. "Cassandra, your father asked me for money 3 times last year, said it was for James's businesses. I gave $40,000 total." "I just learned there were no businesses. They gambled it away. Both your father and James have serious gambling problems. Why didn't you tell me? I was ashamed. I thought I could fix it quietly." "But trying to steal your home, that's beyond fixing. They need consequences." The trial was brutal. Prosecutors presented the forged documents, the incriminating texts, the Facebook posts, James's gambling debts, $70,000, Dad's maxed-out credit cards, $130,000, mostly casino charges. The so-called business ventures had been lies to cover addiction. The real plan, sell my penthouse to pay debts and fund more gambling. Defense argued it was all a family misunderstanding, that my parents genuinely believed they had authority to help James, that the forgeries were only drafts. The jury rejected every excuse. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing: James, 4 years federal prison, $800,000 restitution, 5 years probation. Dad, 2 years federal prison, $400,000 restitution, lifetime ban from acting as power of attorney. Mom, 18 months federal prison, $400,000 restitution, same lifetime ban. The judge's statement was scathing. This was not a misunderstanding. It was a calculated, months-long conspiracy to defraud the defendant's own daughter of her primary residence. The forgery demonstrates premeditation. The messages show knowing intent. These defendants exploited a family member they believed was vulnerable due to distance. The court views intrafamily financial abuse with utmost seriousness. They were let out in handcuffs. James looked at me once, pure hatred in his eyes. I returned to London and threw myself into work. Within months, I was promoted to senior director, salary raised to $420,000, and offered permanent relocation. I considered it seriously. Seattle now felt poisoned. 10 months after the trial, I finally flew back. The penthouse was immaculate, the cleaning service had kept it perfect. The view of Puget Sound, the Olympics, and the skyline still took my breath away. Yet standing in the living room, I felt strangely empty. I had won everything on paper, protected my asset, held them accountable, preserved my integrity, but I had lost my entire immediate family. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived from James's prison. I almost threw it away. Something made me open it. "Cassandra, prison gives you too much time to think. The counselor here keeps saying I need to take accountability. So here it is." I was jealous. "You succeeded at everything: money, property, career. I failed at everything and blamed you for making me look small. When Mom and Dad said we could sell your place to help me, I didn't push back because I wanted what you had. Taking something from you felt easier than building anything myself. The counselor calls it destructive envy. I call it being a terrible brother. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But you were right to prosecute us. We would have financially destroyed you if you hadn't stopped us. You protected yourself. That took strength I don't have. I'm sorry, James. I read it twice. It changed nothing about our relationship. There was still too much damage, but it was an acknowledgement that the betrayal had been real and that my decision to fight back had been survival. Not spite. 18 months after moving back to Seattle, I'm still in the penthouse. I've redecorated completely, new colors, new furniture, new energy. It no longer feels like a crime scene. James is released in 2 years, Dad in 6 months, Mom in 4. I have no intention of seeing any of them. Grandmother Louise visits every month. She's the only family I need now. The most important lesson I've carried forward is this: protecting yourself is not selfish, even when it costs you relationships. My family assumed I wouldn't fight back because I was far away, because I was just Cassandra, because they had spent years teaching me that family duty meant accepting anything. They were wrong. I fought, I won, and I'm keeping the penthouse. Not because it's worth $2.1 million, because it's mine, and no one, not even blood, gets to take what's mine and call it love.